It's me, Christina Elevato, back at ya. Gretchen Wieners and Mean Girls on Broadway. Here in my apartment, I am starting a series where I'm gonna interview my friends on Zoom and post them. My first interview on my YouTube channel. I couldn't do it in person, cause obviously, but I had a really nice Zoom conversation with the one, the only, Cady Heron, one of my BFFs, Erika Henningsen. We talked about Mean Girls, we talked about what we were up to in this time off, and had a grand old time. And we really miss each other, so we had a nice time talking on Zoom. If you've been enjoying my channel so far, please subscribe and like this video. Also check out all my other videos that I've been doing. I have more coming out. I'm super excited. I'm having so much fun. And enjoy this interview with Erika Henningsen. So cheers, first of all.
Clink!
Clink! Welcome to my YouTube channel, Erika.
I'm so excited. I have been an avid watcher since episode 1.
Thank you.
Very excited to be on.
Okay, so honestly, I want to talk about the things that the people want to hear. Can you tell us all about your last show? How are you feeling?
Well, I will say, I mean, you were there, so you know this. Like, I felt like my last Sunday night show, which was a week before I left, was the show where I got the most emotional.
Oh my God.
Because it kind of snuck up on me. Like, I wasn't prepared to be emotional, and then I was just standing on stage. It was the end of the 8-show week. It was the end of rehearsals, and I was looking around, and I just thought next week is my last week playing Cady Heron on Broadway, and I wasn't prepared, so I just like started sobbing.
Oh my God, me too. That was a hard one for me too, that Sunday night.
That Sunday, right, and everybody was like, you weren't supposed to cry that night, but I'm kind of happy I did, because I feel like it got like half the emotions out of the way, so that by the time it got to my actual last show 6 days later, you know, obviously it was super emotional, but it felt more like a celebration as opposed to like a loss or like an ending. It felt more like a party.
It totally did. I mean, it sucked and I cried the whole time.
Apparently Gray, I did not know this, Gray was like sobbing at the end of Roar, and he's like in his chair.
Me and Kate were watching From the Wings. I mean, everybody, you know that we were all watching From the Wings, right? Like the entire cast.
I knew, I can't always see, but I knew for the beginning of the show, and then I knew for More is Always Better. I could see everybody in the wings because it's dark enough.
Oh my God.
I had no idea that was happening. I'm happy I did it because that would have made me been even more nervous.
So we were like in our onesies and we were just watching, like bawling. And then honestly, Gray, that moment where Gray started bawling at the end of Roars, I was like, wait, I can't handle this at all.
I'm so happy I didn't see it. Like, it's so funny. You get like tunnel vision, I think, because I was like, you have 2.5 hours to experience this. So like, don't blow it all now.
What's the moment do you remember any specific moment from the night that was like your favorite, or just kind of?
Well, I remember, I mean, of course I knew Stars was going to be the moment where I was like, either going to crumble into, not sadness, but sort of like the emotion of the moment. And I remember having this thought, looking at everybody on stage, and I was about to sort of, when you're singing, you wave into that thing where you're like, I'm either going to fight this or I'm going to let it overcome me. And I remember thinking like, there's no need to fight it, but like, there's also no need, like, this is not sadness, this is joy. And you've sung this song upwards of like 700 times. So like, go out with a bang. Don't make it about you. Make it about like this cast and these people on stage, and look in their eyes and celebrate them. And I remember that moment, and I'm so happy that happened. And I'm so happy my heart and my brain were able to choose to go outward instead of caving inward and making it like, and it was an emotional catharsis, but I felt like it was something that we like all got to share, because it's just been such a journey for everybody who's been in that show.
I literally like could not believe that you got through Stars like that, because the rest of us were like, no! You sounded glorious. It was actually truly, like, it was very impressive. I was like, I can't believe she's singing like this right now.
I'm not one of those people that's like, I don't need to sound perfect all the time. I'm like, I love when people get emotional on stage, but I remember that moment being like, come on, you're at the finish line. Just like finish as strong as you started with these people, instead of just like crying on the platform. I mean, it was a party. It was such a party, and I never felt like the show was a weight on my shoulders, a weight to carry, because it was such a joy. But I will say, when I finally like took a bow, I just remember thinking like, okay, your job is done and you did it. You can walk out with your friends and your family with your head held high. That it like, I don't know. It's such a cool thing to be like, I did a Broadway show for 2 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you just had the 2-year anniversary yesterday, which is crazy. Do you feel like
That
a different person?
I feel like, well, it's just weird because you see like, I mean, we talked about this, how there are people I'm friends with who were there at the very beginning, and there's people I'm friends with who came in at the very end. People like Renee, or even like Sabrina and Chad, people who I won't do the show with.
Right.
So it is that weird thing where I feel like I'm not in the show anymore, but it still feels like my extended family from every permutation.
No, that's what's so special about our show, right? Is that like, I just feel like, we talked about it too. Like, I feel like I did the show with Ashley, but it's literally impossible for me to do the show with Ashley.
You could do it. You did. I feel the same way about like Danny. I'm like, Danny and I have played Cady at the same time, but in my head, I'm like, we did the show together for 6 months. But I'm like, well, no, because then she left, and it's an extended family, not just on the Broadway, but also out on the road too.
I'm also like, you wore your pink beanie. I wore my light pink shirt.
Or my pink beanie.
Love
I did like half Cady Heron because of the camo green, and then half the plastics of the pink.
I love it. What's your favorite movie you have watched during this quarantine?
Oh, wait, did I tell you and Bob what Kyle and I are doing?
No.
We're doing a movie project because it's so hard to choose a movie these days because there's so many platforms. So we're doing 26 movies, starting with each letter of the alphabet.
Oh my God, that's such a good idea.
Yeah, because it like narrows it. So we did American Hustle, Brave, Casino Royale, Dog Day Afternoon, E.T. is Tonight, and then Fleabag. Honestly, I had never seen Brave before, and
oh my God, I love Brave. You are Merida.
I mean, I would die. I would love it. She's like, have you ever wanted to change your fate? I'm also like watching this birth outside my window. I loved it so much, and I'm so happy because it helps us watch things that we wouldn't normally watch. Like, I don't think we ever would have sat down and watched Brave, but we're kind of doing it like when you put in a letter on iTunes or Netflix, whatever comes up first, you have to choose one of those.
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Maybe we should do that. This is my notepad of questions for you. Like, I'm an
Wait, so a fish.
I've asked them all. Okay, have you had a favorite moment of quarantine with Kyle? Like something that you did or something that you watched, or your watercolors? Like, I know you're watercoloring too, which I love.
I love my watercolors. Okay, well, I will say, I mean, I'm facing the windows right now, and it's like, I can tell I've just become way too into it. I've become a very avid bird watcher.
Oh my God.
Because we have a ton of birds, we have a ton of ducks, and like, Kyle started calling me the Great White Duck Hunter because every morning I wake up, I'm like, what have we got?
Where are the ducks?
Where are the ducks? So that's been fun, just to be like in nature again. I need to like close the window. I'm so distracted by them.
You have the birds.
The woods, but something we've done together. I mean, what's been really fun has been cooking together, and also like, we don't work out together. He does stuff at the gym that I don't do, and or I just don't go to the gym. Yeah. But it's just, that's why I'm like, oh my God, he's here. I guess we have to work out. But working out together has actually been really fun because we have been listening to music that we both like. We always say at the end, we're like, that makes us feel so much better. It makes us feel more positive, healthier, just like we accomplished something that day. And then to do it together is really fun.
Same. We did a yoga video and Bob was like, I'm so tight. I was like, we need to be doing yoga more often.
We gotta do it more. That's the one thing I can't get Kyle to do. I cannot get him to do a yoga class.
Come on, Kyle, do a yoga class.
Trying to think of any like nugget of Mean Girls thing that like I haven't shared with the world. I mean, one of my favorite things, I I think people assume that when they see actors on stage who are not at a certain point, I think when actors are interacting on stage and they're not in the spotlight, we kind of can break character and like we'll just talk as one another. But some of my favorite moments are when you and Kate would stay in character, or we would all stay in character and ad-lib together.
Hard to explain that because it sounds like we like mess around all the time, but when you're bantering in Halloween for like 4 minutes during like there's only so much conversation you can have as Cady and Karen and Gretchen
8 times a week.
Exactly. You start feeling insane if you do that. But the couple of times that we actually stay in character, it is incredibly entertaining.
It's very funny. And seeing like what comes out of people's, and it also made me realize, I was like, wow, as Cady, I feel sometimes exactly how I would feel in real life, where like watching you and Kate banter, I'd be like, okay, yeah, okay, what's going on? What's happening? It's just like, it was such a cool, like, you guys are so, when we would spend those days where we would stay in character 100% of the time, it was very impressive to be like, what Gretchen and Karen are actually talking about upstage left.
Well, it was also weird because what's funny is when we play that game, Karen just doesn't talk as much as Kate does. So I end up just talking for so long and I'm like, oh my God, this is exhausting. I love those days. Those were funny.
Those were fun. Those are a good challenge. What was the other challenge? Oh, well, your husband gave us a challenge where he said, when we said lines, we had to like do an action for them. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm like brushing somebody off, or I'm caressing, or I'm
right. And Kyle gave me one for It's So Fetch. And I remember he was watching me in the wing the day I decided to do it, but I didn't tell him. But it changed the intention. I wish I could remember what word he gave me. And I have never felt like so, like I happened to like look over and he was just so proud of me. And I was like, I did something different and special. It made me laugh. I wish I could remember the word.
Kyle? Yes? Do you remember the word that you gave Christina to say? Remember we were playing the game of like, you have to say your lines with an action. Do you remember the word you gave her?
I do, because it's famous. To tickle.
To tickle. That's what it was. Oh my gosh. And I did it. Kyle, do you remember that I clocked that you watched me do it, even though I didn't tell you I was doing it that day?
Yeah. No, it's so clear. You were just kind of like,
it's like,
it got me off stage because I'd forgotten about it too. And I just happened to be watching this. She just did
oh my God.
Tickle.
I was like, I accomplished something major. Thank you for being on my YouTube channel.
I love you.
I love you.
Do you have a sign off? Like the kids do Gucci. What do you do?
No. Oh, I don't. Nothing. I'm like,
thank you for having me. I love you.
I love you very much. You're the greatest.
I miss you.
I miss you too. Bye.
Cut.
Thanks everyone for checking out my interview with Erika. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and share. And I'm listening and reading all of your comments and taking note as to what you want to see. So keep checking back for more videos coming at you soon. Love you all so much. See you next time. Bye.